In the opening sequence of Star Trek, the original TV show, we hear Captain Kirk say, "Space, the final frontier." I don't know about that. Sometimes I think we know more about space than we do our own human biology. There are a lot of things about how our bodies work that we still don't understand. If you struggle with weight gain, if you're not happy with your weight, if you've tried to lose weight and been unsuccessful, or if you've lost weight and then regained it, I want you to know it's not your fault. There is so much about how our bodies process food and store fat and release fat that we still don't understand. The internet is full of videos that will tell you how to lose weight. Bookstores are full of books that will tell you how to lose weight. And yet, obesity is still an epidemic in this country and in other countries. It's not your fault. There's more to you than your body. And we still just don't understand what's going on. But I've got some ideas that I'd like to share with you. So if you're interested, keep watching. Hi there. This is Carolyn Pitts with Intend Well. I'm an ACE-certified health coach, intuitive energy healer, and visual artist. And every week I post content with health and wellness tips to help you live an intentional life and be your best self. You can keep up with my content by going to intendwell.us and entering your email address. Every Friday, I'll send you links to all the content that I've posted for the week, plus bonus content just for people who are on my email list. I want to start with a story. About 20 years ago, I had a Buick Rendezvous. I loved driving that car, but it developed an issue. Sometimes when I would turn, it would make this horrible screeching noise. I could just feel everybody's heads whipping around, wondering, where is that noise coming from? Not all the time, though. It was sporadic. So I took it to the dealership, and you know what happened. They took it for a test drive, and it didn't make the noise. And the kind, sweet, helpful, well-intentioned mechanic suggested that maybe it had something to do with my driving. Maybe I was taking corners too fast, or maybe I was torquing the wheel too hard. Well, one day I'm in a parking lot and I hear that horrible screeching noise. And my first thought is someone's stealing my car. And I whipped my head around and I saw a different Buick Rendezvous. All right, so it wasn't my driving. I took the car back, this time to a different mechanic who determined that the transmission was disintegrating and there were metal filings in there. And that's why sometimes when I turned, the metal filings would get up there and grate against the gears. So what does that story have to do with weight gain? Well, one of the main points that I want to make is weight gain is not a problem. Weight gain is our body telling us something's not right in the body. But just like I was so focused on making the noise go away, we get really focused on trying to make the weight go away. With my vehicle, it was an underlying issue. It was the transmission. And no amount of driving right was going to fix it. And with weight gain, sometimes we get told, well, it's your behavior. It's what you're eating or how you're eating, or you should be exercising more. And yet none of those things have any impact on the weight gain, but it's because we're not really getting to the underlying issue. So what could our body be telling us when we're struggling with weight gain? Top of my list, chronic stress and anxiety. I talk about this all the time. When we are triggered, when we are in fight, flight, or freeze mode, when we are functioning in sympathetic mode of our autonomic nervous system, we are not in the mode of rest, digest, and heal. Energy is being redirected to scanning for a threat and preparing to either fight the threat or run away. It's just basic human biology. It's part of our survival instinct. But when we are in that mode and the energy is all about protection from the threat, our body stops putting energy to other functions. It has to get the energy from somewhere. So the functions that it stops feeding energy to, one is our immune system, another is our digestive system. There's no point in digesting food if there is an urgent threat to our survival. So the body says, I don't need to digest right now. I'm going to put my energy over here into protection. But over time, when we're staying in that mode and we're not having the appropriate amount of energy going to our digestion, we're dealing with things like bloating, we're not getting the nutrients out of our food appropriately. And so although we may be eating what we need to eat, the cells aren't getting the nutrition, and the body keeps telling the brain, feed me some more, feed me some more. And it's not a matter of willpower. It's not a character flaw. Your body's saying, screaming for food. And after, well, you can only resist that for so long. So if it's chronic stress, I have tons of videos on my channel about ways that you can tackle chronic stress. You know, my top two are a daily breathing practice and heart rate variability biofeedback training. So look those up. I'll put some links to those videos. I know for me personally, when I got a handle on my stress and I became calmer and more resilient, I lost 20 pounds without even trying. All right, second thing on the list, trauma. A lot of folks are suffering from trauma. We don't even need to go into all of the causes of trauma or the statistics around trauma. Let me just say that related to weight gain, when you have experienced a trauma, when you're suffering from a traumatic situation, it interrupts the flow of energy in your body. And when the flow of energy in your body is not functioning as it should, one of the things that's going to be impaired is your digestion. And that goes right back to what I was just saying about stress. You're not digesting your food appropriately. You're not getting nutrients from your food appropriately. There are a lot of techniques out there, a lot of services to help with trauma. I'm not going to go into those, but I just want to make the point that people who are walking around with a lot of weight gain, it may just be their body's way of saying we need to resolve this trauma. Number 3, food addiction. Food addiction is real. Again, it's not a character flaw. It's not a matter of willpower. Food addiction can be as powerful as alcohol and drug addiction. I recently went to a conference and heard a presentation by Dr. Thompson. She's a brain and cognitive scientist, and she has a website called Bright Line Eating. She has books about it. She has all kinds of resources. So I'm going to put a link to her site. I'm also going to put a link to a survey. It's a screening tool from the National Eating Disorders Association. You can take it for free online, asks you a lot of questions, and then it tells you what your susceptibility could be to actually having a food addiction. 4th, gut microbiome imbalance. This is an emerging field of research. There's still so much we don't know about it, but it seems to be we seem to be pretty certain that there is a link between obesity and the health of our microbiome, the bacteria, the naturally occurring bacteria in our guts. What kind of bacteria we have, what the balance is of that type of bacteria. I'm going to read you this quote, and this is from an article in Preventative Nutrition and Food Science. I'll include the link. But basically they were doing an experiment where they took gut microbiome from obese mice and they placed it in the gut of healthy lean mice. Notably, when the germ-free mice were colonized with the conventional gut microbiota, they gained weight and showed increased levels over 50% of body fat. They also had higher levels of the hormone leptin, which directly correlates with the amount of fat in the body, as well as fasting glucose and insulin, all within 10 to 14 days of colonization. Things that can throw your gut microbiome off, antibiotics, certain medications. Again, there's a lot of information that's just starting to come out. There's a lot of theories. We're still trying to figure out what it all means. But if you think you may have a gut microbiome imbalance, do some research and talk to your doctor. There are tests they can do now to determine what bacteria is in your gut. Number 5. Highly processed and genetically modified foods. This is a controversial subject. There's studies that say eating things that are not natural, our bodies don't know what to do with it. When you consume a food that is so far removed from its natural state, the body says, I don't know how to process this thing that you just consumed, so I don't want to be wasteful, I'll store it as fat. Controversial area. There's also studies that say, there's no correlation. There's a lot of research out there. You can do your own. I'll include a few links. It's something to think about. But what's the harm in looking at what you're eating and trying to focus on eating more food that is closer to its source? Fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. Again, there's a lot of unknowns here, but cleaning up what we eat, if it doesn't lead to weight gain, it could lead to some other improvements in our health. One thing I would caution about, and just something for your consideration, is there was a study where they correlated consumption of corn to weight gain. I'll include a link. Number 6, medications. There's plenty of medications people are taking these days. And if you are on a standing medication, whether it's something prescribed by your doctor or over the counter, do some research and see whether weight gain is a known side effect. If it is, and it's a prescription medication, do not stop taking it. Talk to your doctor and see if there's an alternative available or maybe a way to somehow get you off the medication. This is not something, though, that you should experiment with. Talk to your doctor first. Number 7, meal timing. It used to be, we were told, that it was advisable to eat small amounts all day long. Basically, the grazing mentality, that would keep your metabolism fired up at a consistent level all throughout the day. Now we're hearing the opposite. I don't know if it's true. There's a lot of studies being done, and there's just a lot of different opinions that are out there, but it's something that could be considered. There is a theory that when we are eating all the time, our bodies are so focused on digestion, they're getting a steady stream of energy coming in, which means we never get a chance to go over and tap into our fat stores, because when the body needs energy, you're already giving it through what you just ate. So there's no need to tap into your fat stores. And then the theory is also that if we're always eating, we're always putting some energy towards digestion, and that's taking energy away from other biological functions, such as building up your immune system, cellular growth and repair. And so that's the logic behind the idea that there should be a window of time, either every day or every other day, when we fast. to give our bodies an opportunity to tap into the fat stores and do the things it needs to do besides digesting food. Controversial area, I am not recommending fasting to people, but what I'm saying is that if eating all day could be a contributor to weight gain, then maybe look at least just eating right at mealtime and cutting out the eating in between the meals. Okay, so I've given you 7 reasons that your body could be signaling you that something needs to change. And I didn't talk about that you need to eat less calories or you need to burn more calories through movement and exercise. That is a debunked myth that for some reason still permeates in what people think they know about weight gain. Weight gain is not a character flaw. As I said, it's not a matter of willpower. We need to learn as a society that there are a lot of legitimate reasons for a body to start gaining weight, and we need to look past the weight. It's not an issue. The weight is just a signal that there's something else going on that needs attention. Just like with my rendezvous, the screeching was a signal that the transmission was failing. I could have put a lot of time and energy into replacing the tires, correcting my driving, taking the turns a little bit wider, doing all kinds of things, and it wouldn't have fixed the screeching. And so maybe the things that you're looking at and the things that you're doing to try to address weight gain, maybe they're not the root cause. So try some other things. Look at some other opportunities to say, what is my body trying to tell me? And stop focusing just on the weight. You need to get down to that underlying cause. Like for me, I got rid of my stress. I learned how to handle it, and the weight went away because the body said, okay, you're dealing with what you needed to deal with. Hope that was helpful. Thank you for stopping by. Have a beautiful week. Remember, the best things in life are intentional, so intend well.